Hey there, it's me. I just wanted to do like a general update today, like a general writing update, because it's been a while and I don't even know how long it's been and I don't even know where I've been. And it's so weird because people are like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's December." And I'm like, "I can't believe it's not December yet." Because November was like a really long month for me for some reason. I just remember January. I felt like this past January was it felt like it was 2.5 months long. And I get to the January 20th and people were like, "Oh my gosh, it's almost February." And I'm like, it's not though. There's another 10 days left in January, and a month that already felt like it had been 40 days. I don't know what it is with me and time, but time does not move for me the way it seems to be moving for a lot of other people. And I just feel like, am I all alone here? Am I the only one who thinks that time does not move as fast as people say it does? So maybe it hasn't even been that long. Maybe I posted the video 2 weeks ago. I don't think I did, but maybe I did. So I realized I never talked about these book sleeves that I picked up, I think in September. And so these are some small book sleeves, and I got these because it's turtle print and it looks like it has an iridescent quality to it, even though the image is flat and there's no foil on it, so it's not reflective. I don't know. I just thought it was really nice, but it keeps your books safe because I throw books in my work bag, and sometimes the cover gets bent or scuffed, and then I'm looking at it and then I just want my books to stay nice, as long as possible, you know. And I just wish I had book sleeves when I was in middle school and in high school, because I have a lot of older books that are just kind of half wrecked, And then this is the other book cover I picked up. I just really liked this tie-dye rainbow thing, and this has a flap, and it just keeps your books safe in your book bag so that your cover doesn't get all torn up or ripped up or whatever. But while I was in the Etsy store, I also picked up this 8x11 book sleeve, and it has all these different names for tea on it and stuff, but it's the perfect size for my composition books, because I carry this around with me everywhere until my story is done. And I just noticed some of my composition books were getting scuffed in my bag, or sometimes I would weirdly spill water on them or something, and I was like, I need this in my life. I need a way to keep my composition books safe while I'm working on my projects or whatever. So I'm really enjoying this, and I can keep my pens in here too. But in case you were wondering, I will link the Etsy store that I got all my book sleeves at in the description box below the video. So yeah, so this has been a really interesting year for writing. I'm happy about the book that I did finish, and I'm happy that I did get something finished, and I love it, and I'm happy that I love it. But it's just normally I don't struggle this much to settle on another project, because even that project, it's it came out of nowhere. But I just started noticing end of last year, beginning of this year, that all the ideas that I've been able to work on have come out of the blue. Just talking about the books that are published, the first book, I didn't think it was gonna work out. I picked it up just to see if it was gonna go anywhere before I threw it in the story graveyard, and I picked it up and I loved it, and I just was able to just pick up right where I left off and kept writing. And it wasn't it was just super easy to write, but I was having a lot of fun. So, and the second book, it wasn't something that I had given up on. It was just something that I wasn't expecting to be ready anytime soon, and also it was just kind of really weird. And so I just decided to pick it up and see if that was gonna go anywhere. And just because I wasn't settled on the project that I had picked, and so I was like, well, let me see, how I feel about this one. And then I ended up falling in love with that one and running it off into the sunset with it. And then the third book, I wasn't expecting to ever be able to write that book. I tried a couple of times, and it just didn't feel right. It just wasn't working out. And so I was like, I guess it's not going to work out. But I was just sitting there with nothing to work on. And so I was like, well, why don't I see if it'll work out? And it did. And then my fourth book, I completely forgot about that idea. I literally forgotten it existed. And I found it again. And I was like, oh my gosh, I remember that. And then I wrote that, and I just came to the realization that, like, what I think I'm doing to pick a project was not actually what I was doing. Like, I thought that I was picking up ideas that I tried to work on, that I had been brainstorming, for a while, that I had taken notes on. I thought that there was some kind of like mental hierarchy of story ideas. And so even though earlier this year I decided to stop doing that, like on my website, I used to have this page called Writing Projects where I literally had about, I don't know, like 15 or odd ideas that I had like a hierarchy of. And the whole point of that list was to keep me from having to read through, all of the ideas that I had written down over the years, because at this point, things add up. And I just thought, I'll read over the list every once in a while, and then I'll update my writing projects list accordingly. But the problem was I started getting stressed out. All this pressure started getting on all those ideas, and then I didn't want to write any of them. And so I just deleted the whole page so I could kind of put everything back on the same playing field. The thing I didn't think about was the fact that because now everything is on the same playing field, in order to find, the next project that will work out, I have to actually read over everything, and I didn't want to do that. So I spent most of this year trying not to do that, and finally, like right after Thanksgiving, like I had a meltdown. Because it's like, I'm a writer, like I need to write, okay? And it's like, I have not written anything since I finished editing my last book. Okay, and my last book came out October 1st, and I was done editing that, obviously, before the book came out. So, so I haven't written anything. And I tried to write stuff. I wrote 3.5 chapters of something. I wrote 3 chapters of something else. I tried to write a paragraph or two of a couple other things. And it's just like, I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do any of them. And I've come to the conclusion that there's no such thing as like the wrong project, because that's like carries like this negative connotation. And so it's not like I kept picking the wrong project. I just kept picking up things that aren't ready yet. Because my line of thinking these days are like, there's only 3 responses to should I work on this project. And those are yes, no, and later. So if it's a yes, that means, okay, yes, I can work on this now. If it's later, then it's like, okay, put this aside and we'll come back to it later. And the third answer, no, like it really isn't all that sad. It just means, no, this actually isn't going to work out. Pick another idea. And there's nothing wrong with that, I mean, that's kind of the benefit of having like a whole bunch of ideas. You can put them all into like a colander, and like all the bad ideas and all the ideas that don't have enough substance will fall out. So yeah, I actually have this quote on the corkboard by my desk that says, to get something you've never gotten before, you have to do something you've never done before. And I think the attribution is Dave Ramsey, or at least that's where I heard it. So, and I was like, isn't that the definition of insanity? It's doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting, different results. And so here I was, like, going back to the same, like, overstressed, like, 10, 15 ideas and expecting one of them to magically start working out. And that's just not going to happen. And it's like, I have all these ideas. I wrote them down for a reason. My brain knows what it wants. And so in order for me to find it, I had to actually finally read through everything. And like, no joke, it took about 1.5 hours, 2 hours for me to read through everything and like make notes. I actually took a piece of paper, and as I went through like my different story idea notes, I wrote down the ones that were sticking out to me, and eventually I got the list down to 3, and then I just picked from those 3, because to me, I was thinking those are the ones that I am leaning towards the most for some reason right now. And isn't that what I'm supposed to be doing, is writing the idea that I want right now? Because right now is when I'm going to be writing it. So, but anyway, I did finish a few books this month, and I'm going to talk about those in the next video, because I actually have a lot to say about the few stories I did finish. And I also saw Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald, and I just want to quickly say I did really like it, but it's kind of like, it's like the first movie was like a complete part. Like it had, a complete beginning, middle, and end. And there are other stories to come, but it felt like, a complete first part to like this new string of like prequel, Wizarding World movies or whatever. But The Crimes of Grindelwald felt like a piece of a part. And so it felt like I had gotten like half of a whole part, and so I feel like I need like the next part or even the next two parts to like fully understand this part. And I'm just like, at this point, we're so knee deep in Harry Potter lore that you have to be like a massive nerd to know what's going on. And I'm a Harry Potter nerd, like, don't get me wrong, I have like banners and like wands and like knickknacks and the Harry Potter stuff, and I'm just all in. But it's like, I have not been all over Pottermore, and so like, even though I would consider myself like a level like 9 rabid Harry Potter fan, there's still another level on top of where I am, which is a level 10 rabid Harry Potter fan, and those people are all over Pottermore, like reading all the bios that J.K. Rowling wrote for all the characters, and I'm like, I just haven't done that, so so I feel like I need to have been like all up in Pottermore to like get everything. And even then, I don't think I would have gotten everything, because some of the nerd YouTube channels I watch, they didn't get everything, and they are like those level 10 like fans, and they still like have some questions. And so I just think it's just one of those cases of J.K. Rowling being so deep in her own world that she doesn't realize that we don't like know everything, or like, or maybe she was just like, well, at this point maybe we can have a little bit of a cliffhanger. I don't know, I just would have preferred if it had been like just more like a complete story and less like a part of a story, you know? Maybe that makes sense, I don't know. Anyway, I am going to go for now, and I will see you next week with my November reading wrap up. And yeah, until then, bye.